The 2022 college football season is now just days away. We have a couple games this weekend, including the highly anticipated Northwestern-Nebraska matchup. As we prepare and get ready for the 2022 season on this channel, I thought the first video back, we would decide to take a look at some of the crazy things that have happened in college football over the last few days. We've had multiple new starting quarterbacks named, a couple high-profile recruits have committed, and 2 former star players are in some hot water. We're going to talk about all these topics and more, but before we can get into it, nearly 80% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel for the upcoming season, and we can do better than that, so quickly be sure to hit that subscribe button, smash that like button for the algorithm, and turn on post notifications so you never miss a video this college football season. Now, let's go ahead and get started and talk about college football going crazy and all of today's events. The first of 7 topics we're going to cover today is John Rice Plumlee being named the starting quarterback at UCF. Plumlee is a very interesting player and has a very interesting story. Coming out of the state of Mississippi, Plumlee was both a star football and baseball player. He was so good, in fact, that he was offered a scholarship to play for Georgia as a quarterback, which he accepted. Many people don't know that, but John Rice Plumlee was committed to the Bulldogs. After taking some time to think about it, though, he decided to flip to Ole Miss, where he then battled it out with Matt Corral for the first few years there. Plumlee was the number 13 dual-threat quarterback in the country and was barely ranked as a 4-star player in the class of 2019. While he was battling out with Matt Corral at Ole Miss, he had his best season in 2019. During that season, he passed for 910 yards with 4 touchdowns. Not very good, but look at his rushing numbers. He ran for over 1,000 yards with 12 touchdowns, and he was truly a dual-threat quarterback, even though he was honestly more of a running back. Those were not the only 2 positions he would play, though, as when Ole Miss had a wide receiver shortage in 2020, he moved to that position. Overall, his production did decline throughout his career at Ole Miss, which is why he decided to enter the portal, and he went over to UCF. He'd have an interesting quarterback battle. Last year's starter Dylan Gabriel went down with an injury, so Mikey Keene would take over. Keene was productive, but not amazing, and it would really come down to Plumlee and Keene for the starting job, but as of yesterday, Plumlee was named the starter, and I'm super excited for him. The Knights have a ton of young, fun weapons in their offense, and with Gus Malzahn at the helm, I think Plumlee could have his breakout season during his senior year. I am pumped for him. Moving back over to Ole Miss, the Rebels landed a huge commitment from the number 1 wide receiver in the state of Mississippi, Aiden Williams. He has been a guy I've been following over the last few weeks as he has blown up into one of the top wide receivers in high school football, and he was recently crystal balled to Ole Miss before he made it official. Williams is a part of the class of 2023, and he was a first-team All-State selection, as last year he finished with 69 catches for 1,256 yards and 15 touchdowns. He has blown up over the last few years, and he eventually decided to pick the Rebels over Jackson State, Tennessee, Georgia, South Carolina, and LSU. Those are some big-time offers, and this is a huge commitment for Ole Miss. Well, he always loved how he was treated by the coaching staff, and he built a great relationship with some of the Ole Miss coaches. Plus, he credits Ole Miss development of wide receivers as to a reason why they went there. Just a couple of years ago, A.J. Brown and D.K. Metcalf went to the NFL. 2 years ago, you had Elijah Moore, and then last offseason, you had a couple guys go to the NFL as well. So maybe, just maybe, Aiden Williams will be that next big-time player. According to 24/7 Sports, Williams is a 4-star recruit, the number 19 wide receiver, and the 118th best player nationally. Ole Miss got a huge pickup here. If you're a big college football fan, you guys definitely remember the name Luke May. He had a buzzer beater against Kentucky back in the day in March Madness, and he's become a pretty big name. He hasn't done much in the NBA, but his little brother Drake could do something in football. Coming out of Myers Park High School, Drake May was coached up to be a big-time quarterback, and he lived up to all the hype and expectations he had. Scouts believed he was a 5-star talent at one point, and he decided to commit to Alabama. Yes, Drake May was committed to Alabama for a little while, but after reconsidering his options, he decided he was going to flip back to North Carolina and join Mack Brown. According to 24/7 Sports, May was a 4-star recruit, the number 9 quarterback, and the 56th best player in the class of 2021. Obviously, May was not going to play last year as they already had Sam Howell, but he did get a couple of snaps, and he looked like the future of the program. Scouts and people around the program have been buzzing about him, and he was predicted to win the starting quarterback job, but he would have to beat out former blue-chip recruit Jacoby Criswell first. He did, in fact, do that, and as of August 22nd, he was named the starting quarterback. Mack Brown said, quote, "We just felt like Drake should walk out there first. There's very little difference between the two. If one quarterback is not moving the ball, we'll put the other in. We're going to give each one a chance. If you're moving it, you stay in. If you're not, let each one have a chance. Yes, May was named the starter, but it looks like Jacoby Criswell is not counted out just yet. But I am pretty certain that May is going to have a big season, and he's one of the more underrated names in the ACC, and could be the next great Tar Heel quarterback, following in the footsteps of Trubisky and Sam Howell. Up next, we have a very interesting situation that has come out of Knoxville, Tennessee. You guys all remember Travis Etienne, who ended up becoming the best running back in ACC history, but you probably forget about Lynjay Dixon. He was a 4-star recruit coming out of the state of Georgia, and he was always the backup to Etienne. While Dixon did show a lot of flash, when he was finally given a chance to start in 2021 at running back, he kind of threw it all away. He got put in Dabo Swinney's doghouse, and eventually midway through the season, decided to enter the transfer portal. Dixon's career wasn't over just yet though, as he decided he was going to transfer to West Virginia. The Mountaineers had lost their star running back Letty Brown to the NFL, so Dixon would have an opportunity to go in and start if he did things the right way. Except, midway through the summer, he decided to enter the portal again. Where did he settle on this time? He went to Tennessee. The Volunteers only had 4 scholarship running backs after Lenneth Whitehead went down with a season-ending injury, and Dixon would have had a chance to be the second running back behind Jabari Small. Things were going pretty well for him in Knoxville until yesterday we found out he's no longer with the team. While I'm not going to speculate, some say it's an injury, some say it's an off-the-field issue, and some say he just got cold feet. I have absolutely no idea what is going on. Right now, Tennessee has 4 scholarship backs, and Dixon is trying to find his 4th school in a 1-year span. South Carolina football has been rolling through the recruiting scene. Before yesterday, the Gamecocks had 7 4-star recruits committed for their 23 class, and yesterday they added number 8, and he is the second best player in their class right now, and his name is Xavion Hardy. Coming out of Macon, Georgia, Hardy is the number 22 defensive lineman and the 155th best player nationally, and he is taking his talents over to South Carolina, and this is a huge addition for Beamer. Hardy had over 20 scholarship offers, including big-time programs such as Florida, Auburn, Georgia, and Florida State. The Gamecocks obviously were the winner out of the 5, but why? He said, quote, "It feels like Georgia. It feels like home," regarding South Carolina. "I could see myself playing there. I'm very tight with Coach Shane Beamer and Coach Jimmy Lindsey. That is why South Carolina is a top school for me." At 6'5" and 262 pounds, Hardy is a nightmare in the trenches, and in order to win in the SEC, you need to win the battle of the trenches, and Hardy is a great addition to South Carolina and a great foundational piece to what Beamer wants to do there. I'm excited for him, and congratulations to Beamer. For our next topic, we're going to talk about another guy who was named the starting quarterback, and that is Tyler Shough for Texas Tech. Coming out of Chandler, Arizona, Shough was a big-time 4-star recruit, and he was the number 7 pro-style quarterback in the class of 2018. After originally committing to North Carolina, Shough flipped his commitment to the Oregon Ducks, where he would back up Justin Herbert for a year. He was given the opportunity to start in 2020 as he beat out Boston College transfer Anthony Brown. Shough was He threw for 1,559 yards with 13 touchdowns and 6 picks. As the season went on, he got worse, with the final straw coming when he got benched for Anthony Brown. He entered the portal, and a couple big-time schools would go after him, but he quickly found his home at Texas Tech. He was named the starter in Matt Wells' offense, and he threw for 872 yards with 6 touchdowns and 3 picks before he would go down with a season-ending injury. At that time, he was actually leading the Big 12 in both yards and touchdowns, so it's not like Shough was some slouch. Going into 2022, things were going to look a lot different for Shough. They had a new head coach in Joey McGuire, Zach Kittley had come over from Western Kentucky, and they had a couple new quarterbacks in the room. Eventually, there'd be a 2-man quarterback battle between Donovan Smith and Shough, and yesterday, it finally came out that Shough was going to be the starter. If he can play anything like his 2022 self, and Zach Kittley is as good as advertised, then the Red Raiders could not only have a breakout year, but Shough could position himself to be one of the top quarterbacks in the conference and could hear his name called in the 2023 NFL Draft. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. Finally, we get to our last topic today, as John Emery Jr. is once again facing some difficulty, as he has been suspended for the first 2 games of the LSU season. Emery was a huge deal coming out of high school. He was a 5-star recruit and the number 13 player in the class of 2019, and was expected to come in right away and play. Instead, he struggled a little bit. He not only struggled to adapt to SEC football, but he apparently had vision problems. That led to him having LASIK surgery, and he was hoping to get back on the field better than ever in 2020. Unfortunately, he struggled to see the field then, and then he got some very difficult news going into the 2021 season. That was his supposed breakout year, but but after some academic issues, he was suspended the entire 2021 campaign, and he did not win the appeal, so he would have to sit on the sideline. Going into 2022 though, he was expected to finally be the guy. Ty Davis Price had been drafted into the NFL, and he was the front runner to win the job. Unfortunately, as we just found out, he will be suspended the first 2 games following some academic issues from last year, and that will be a tough break for him. I think by the end of the year he will be the starter, but in those first 2 games, LSU really needed him. So who are the Tigers going to look to? Well, there's 3 options. First, you have former Penn State transfer Noah Cain. Second, you have their sophomore Armani Goodwin, and then junior Josh Williams. All 3 of those guys should see carries in their opener against Florida State, and I definitely think that Emory's talents will be missed, and while the 2-game suspension is tough, I think he'll be the best running back on that roster by the end of the season. So yeah, that wraps up today's video, as college football has had some crazy stories over the last 48 hours, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Be sure to let me know your thoughts down below, let me know a video topic I could cover next, and before you go, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Before you go, don't forget to also check out my other videos on the end screen, and I hope to see you guys again soon. But until next time, peace.